Now, if you've never heard of nominative determinism, then I want to introduce you to the concept with a few pictures on screen here. Why? Because with the white pieces in this game, it's the aptly named 15-year-old chess prodigy from Iran, Sina Movahed. He was playing with the white pieces in this game. His opponent was Hikaru Nakamura. They were playing on Thursday 20th of November in 3-0 Thursday, a new weekly chess tournament that happens 3 times in the day on a Thursday. Big cash prizes like Title Tuesday, so lots of strong players playing online. And can you imagine being such a youngster playing against the strongest player by rating on chess.com and deciding you're not going to take the draw? You're going to try and checkmate the guy from a level position. This is just incredible chess and passion from the youngster. Let's check out this game here. It's truly remarkable. And then we'll look at the tournament standings. One of these guys wins it. It was so tight. Half a point in it. Sina goes for the Roy Lopez, named after J-Lo's uncle, Roy, of course. Big chess fan. A6 chases the bishop here. And for anyone a bit newer to chess, why can't you mangle the pawns, then win one? Well, this is the trick. Black wins it right back. Here's the main line, double bomb cloud in such a variation. Okay, didn't get played. Bishop drops. Knight f6, main response for black. But Hikaru builds the banana hammock. He loves tucking the bishop into bed. One of his favourite structures, rook e1, knight g to e7 to leave the eyes of the bishop open, and c3 prepares to set up that big centre. Gives this bishop a little cubby hole. Castles is played, and now pawn d4 takes the centre. d6 defending. White's clearly ahead here. Extra move to start, and got 2 pawns in the centre. So pawn h3 now played. Keeping an eye on the pesky g4, which would help pressure d4. Pawn b5 chases this one back, and it goes to c2 and not b3, because otherwise you run into knight a5, quick c5. Also, it can defend the pawn one day, maybe spring to life if the centre changes. Takes. It's just what happens right now, and it's risky. You don't want to give your opponent the centre like this. You've just removed your own central pawn and added an enemy pawn. Why would you do so? Well, this is Hikaru's point. He's going after the legendary bishop bear. Knight c3 played, not trying to save it. Long story short, Hikaru doesn't yet capture, and Sina never moves it, because if you try and save that bishop, you just lose a bit too much time. When I clicked around the lines, black gets too much development going on. So this is the game. Always get your bits out. Now Hikaru plays the explosive c4, not the favourite of the stock nest monster, as you can see. A pawn ahead to white. But of course Hikaru fights back here. This is what he does so well. d5's now played. Excellent. Clamping on the c6 square. Opening up this one for action here. Takes on c2 now. Finally, queen takes and bishop d7. So Hikaru is banking on these guys coming to life later on in the game, right? In compensation for the white central control. Bishop d4. And this explains pawn to f6. It's a very stinky move. Lord Hans Feingold does not approve, but it keeps the bishop on the board. Side note, so lovely to see Hans Niemann and Hikaru Nakamura good friends these days, or maybe you could call them frenemies. I'm not sure. This may be a touch of AI, we must admit, but regardless, they're on talking terms. We saw it at the Chess Cup, American one, whatever one it was, Sinkfield, I can't remember. G5 from Hikaru now, and it really illustrates why he's such a strong blitz player, because even though his openings are not that hot, he knows how to fight, he understands positional concepts so well, takes, and this knight rotating round to the light squares is met by this knight rotating to the dark squares. It's such a classic thing in chess that you often get the opposing colour complex strategies, especially in games like this, pawn structures like this. So rook takes on a8 played, queen recaptures, b3 to break up the invading enemy army, captures is played, queen takes back, and now black really has to be going queen to a4. White stands a bit better, queen e3 is best to actually keep the queens on the board, go for the attack, but it's not played by Hikaru. He plays rook c8. What's the way to punish not going queen a4? Well, it's the immediate rook a1. Now, why is this so strong? Well, you have to go to b8. Let's start with that. Not b7, or you run into rook a7 and you lose an unprotected bishop. Once you get to this position, the rook can invade, the knight can rotate. It's very, very good for white. The structure, everything. If the bishop moves, one knight could come to d4. Maybe this one and this one and this one and this one. Converge them both, right? White's really ahead, but missed. We see queen b2 building the battery, going for this pawn. So knight e5, of course. Again, rook a1 best. You're not even bothered about the in-between check and shatter the pawn, because then when the queen moves, there's a double bishop attack on f6 once the knight goes. So this was played, not best, like said, but it's the game. And again, rook a1, absolute best move to shut down black. But what was played? Bishop e3. Now, still a good move, but not so much advantage anymore, because Hikaru ignores the attack on the pawn, invades with the queen there, said that one weird, and not only is he threatening c2 with the rook, but he's hitting the pawn on e4. So Sina rotates and defends his center. It's the correct move. You didn't actually want to let that one drop. Wasn't the best of exchanges. Now we see rook c2 anyway, queen b1, and with the pawn now legit gonna drop off the board, it's defended with h6, and I love Sina's style. He could go king h2, rook c1, this one looks a bit scary, but he plays the really tricky knight f5, changing the structure, also asking a question, do you want to take on e4, then I'm taking on d6, certainly looks good for white, computer gives it roughly level. What Hikaru does in the game is bishop takes. It is the best move. You give up those bishops, yes, but you compromise this pawn structure slightly, and now you get your passer running, because before you can say international chess arbiter Chris Bird pretending to be Mary Poppins, he absolutely loves it. He'll go all night. Hikaru pushes the pawn. Now rook c1 is played at this moment to challenge the strong piece. Begs the question, why not b3? Looks really natural. Well, you can take. Pawn takes, and you've got the square well enough covered. You could even check. You could even give a piece, some kind of line like this. There are many, many lines that lead to draws by perpetual check, simply for the fact that both kings are so exposed, especially black's. Let's run back. We didn't see b3. Hikaru took immediately. Queen recaptures. Now b3. That one's in the delivery suite. Baby girl expected. Queen c8 check. King h7. Queen b7. And we've reached this incredible moment. Now with the queen on b7, you're stopping pawn b2. Lovely. But you're also threatening f6, which then leads to a checkmate. So black's got to act quickly. And one of the strongest moves played in the game is king g8. It's almost an only move. You technically could have gone e4 in that last position as well. And it's here that Sina, a minute each on the clock, playing the strongest player on chess.com, rating-wise anyway. We know Magnus is up there, of course, and probably the best. Definitely the best. Surely you play queen c8, check. This wasn't played. Force the king back, come back with the queen. and you make that draw. It just looks so natural. It's what you do. But no, this guy, the ambition, he refuses to take any kind of draw with Hikaru. Not so easy, Sonny Jim. He plays king h2. And he keeps the game going. Pawn e4, opens the bishop, prepares pawn b2. Okay, make that draw. Queen c8 check, king h7, queen b7. Do it again, surely. No. He plays queen b8 check. Now, okay, not that different, but subtly different. Because now from b8, he attacks the pawn on d6 and he asks a question. If you're going to h7 with the king, am I taking here? Now, you could have played this line with black. Give zeros. Of course it does. It's an engine, but it's not that obvious. b2 can be played. You can check here. I was doing various bits of clicking around. Don't try and do a perpetual like this. Nice way to lose, but you can check from here. I mean, there's no point to keep clicking. All the engine lines just so draw, 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 draw everywhere you turn. But in human chess, it's easy to go wrong. Hikaru does it here. He plays bishop f8, not king h7. And this is a losing move. But there's only one winning move.
The only winning move.
It's the only move?
The only winning move.
It's the only move?
The only winning move.
It's the only...
It's queen to c8. And the point is you're invading decisively. Best defense is queen a1, but it... Whoops, wrong arrow. Queen a1, but it's still losing. So I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. Someone told me the other day that rabbit holes are deep, but not long. Apparently, I don't know my rabbits. We now see pawn b2. It's given the big blunderous mistake, right? White's completely winning now. It starts with check. King h8 played, and now the lovely creeping move, queen f7. You're threatening to take the bishop, of course. Now, what if bishop g7? Hikaru didn't play this. Then there's pawn f6. And if takes, this, king goes. And now you can take the pawn. And this is a completely winning endgame, a piece ahead. So we didn't see bishop g7. Hikaru, of course, picks this pawn up and turns it into the queen. And we have to ask the existential question. Does that pawn now still feel like the same person? Here's Ray Robson really elaborating on this fascinating point.
They're changing into a different piece. They're not going to be themselves anymore. It's like, you know, am I myself if I change into someone else? Like, it's existential questions for the pawns.
Do let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Queen on the board, 2 queens for Hikaru, but you're busted. Plus 21. Queen takes with check, of course. King h7, queen check, king back, and pawn to f6. Seals the deal. Hikaru resigns. Why? Because you cannot get back to stop that checkmate. You've got nothing. You know, literally, what do? This, well, fine, we take, we carry on mating. This, fine, we take, we carry on mating. This, you know, you got nothing. You can give some stupid checks, but take, and you just hide back. You're getting mated. Incredible game and incredible self-belief from Sina. Hope you enjoyed this one. And have a look at the video on screen in case you missed the incredible battle between Magnus and Hikaru at the recent Clutch Chess tournament. Thanks a lot for watching and see you soon. Cheers.